thanks for stopping in. I've got a small project on my hands. Many of you folks who have been with me for a while know that I like to go camping, and I like to build stuff to go into my pop-up camper and for use around the campsite. And the thing that's come up and started to aggravate me a little bit is this miserable bow saw. It used to be a nice bow saw, but it's been riding around in a damp location in my camper, and it stays outdoors way too much, and it's pretty old. So it's got a dull blade, and I can't actually find a substitute blade for this. And it's a cheap metal bow that's just corroded completely. And this is an important implement for me because at the particular state park that we go to, there is a lot of deadfall. And it doesn't seem that a lot of people are inclined to go out and put a little energy into collecting that. And I don't mind at all. It makes for a cheap fire because they sell firewood for pretty precious amounts of money in these state campsites. So what's on now? I'm going to make a bow saw, and I'm going to make it out of poplar, and it's going to be fold-up type. Stay with me. Okay, this is what I ended up with for a drawing. And as I said in my opening remarks, I want this to be collapsible. It's much more effective in a camping situation if it's broken down. And I also want it to be the blade to be protected so that it's not catching on things and doing damage inside the camper. And I've made a full-scale drawing based on this blade, which is available at the big box stores, and in the United States that means Home Depot and Lowe's. It's found in the gardening section because this is typically used for pruning trees. So it's for cutting branches off from trees and cleaning them up. And because of that size, it governs what the length of the arms are going to be, because I want them to end up right in the middle, so that as they rotate around that pin, the blade disappears into that saw curve, which is going to be running the full length of the blade, and so the blade actually hides within that saw curve. And then it comes back out, and I'm going to have the string attached to one of the arms through what I've got here is a 3/8 inch hole. I think that should be big enough, but it may have to get a little bigger. And the holes for the blade are 1/4 inch, so I'm placing those at the outside ends. The internal arm is 19.5 inches from that surface to that surface, and then it's got a 1/2 inch tenon on each end, so that means the overall length of the piece of wood is going to be 20.5 inches. The arm is 12.25 inches top to bottom, and it starts out at 2.25 inches wide, but obviously I've changed things around here a little bit to give it a little shape, and this ends up be about 2 inches, no, 1.75 inches, I think, something on that order. But then again, you can make that any style you want to. And I put this bow in here just to give me a little more clearance, because this is a fairly small saw, and I wanted to have more than just 4 or 4.5 inches. So I've actually got another 1.5 inches in the middle spread out so that I could cut a fairly large piece of wood in there if I want to. So, and I've also made full-size patterns of that and that, which is going to make construction of this pretty easy. So let's get on with it. I've decided I want these two arms to have the exact same placement, particularly for the the pinhole where the blade is attached. So I decided I'm going to work these up with double-sided tape so they get exactly the same treatment as they get that. And that means I'll drill that and then run these through the bandsaw to get the initial cuts off from them. Perfect. Now, while I still have square edges on this crossbar, I want to make the cheek cuts for the tenons. So I've got about 3/16 of an inch showing on the subblade, and I've got a stop here that's going to give me just exactly a ½ inch spacing for each of the 4 cheeks. Okay, I'm all prepped up on this now. It's time to... I'm going to put a 1/4 inch mortise in here. Now, I've left this very oversized, so I want to creep up on it and make sure that I don't get it too loose in there. So, and this is, I've marked out the position of the mortises here. Well, a lot of the refining is already done. I will admit to have taken the easy way out with the crossbar here and put it on the router table with a 1/4 inch roundover bit just to make my life a little quicker there. But now it's time to bring out some of the string. And I think what I'm going to do is make 6 passes of this. Should be plenty strong, but I can't just leave it at that because I have to thread it through this hole here, so that's long enough, but it's a little bothersome to have to thread it all this length through there, so I won't put you to sleep on that one. I'll be back when it's finished. Now, it's my intention to waterproof this string. I have a lot of beeswax compounds for waterproofing already put together, but I also want to make sure that they don't flop around. Even though I'm sure the wax will hold it together pretty well, I thought I would just tie five or six threads around this string just so that it stays pretty much together. And I've never been the most nimble fingered guy in the world, so tying these little threads is a challenge. Well, I need to go out and get some smaller bolts, but I want to see how this is going to work out. That was one seasoned piece of oak right there. But that saw worked just fine. So I just finished up putting the pins in place, and they're just 1 inch long, 1/4 inch bolts. And I did put a lock nut on there because I don't intend to have those come off at any time. But that is the way that goes together. Put that into a pouch and it travels. When you get to your campfire, break it apart. And that is ready to cut wood. That's a pretty cool project. I like that one. Planning it was a big portion of the time I spent, and It was a good thing I did, because some of my assumptions early on in the process were incorrect. For instance, I made this arm too long, so that once I made up the full-size plan and I could play with the paper, I saw that, in fact, when I got it to this point, they were going to overlap by an inch or so. So that those came down to the proper size. These are just slightly out of position, and I think that was not so much a case of planning as it was carrying it off. So I have just a little bit of a space here, because it's about 1/16 of an inch too wide here. If I could take it back, I would, but I don't think I need to. But that's a nice little project. Putting it together, probably an easy weekend. I think I finished it in an afternoon, for the most part, when I didn't have to go to the store and buy new bolts. But that was a pretty fun project. Well, here it is. And just in time, too. A couple more days and I'm headed out, taking the camper out for a long weekend. And I'll be able to saw my firewood a little bit better. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and share if you think it's worthwhile. Come on back. I'm Tom Stevens. I'll have something again sometime.